Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the highly anticipated sequel to Joker from 2019, Joker Folie, Deux. And this is a musical psychological thriller, and it is once again directed by Todd Phillips, who directed the first film, also co-wrote this film, and is loosely based on a DC Comics character who a lot of people, me included, consider as one of the greatest villains in all of comics, if not all of media, period. Reprising his role as Arthur Fleck, aka Joker, this go around is once again played by Joaquin Phoenix. Joining him is Lady Gaga, joining the cast as his love interest Harley Quinn. Zazie Beetz reprise her role, Donald Gleason, Catherine Keener, and a slew of others. This is, like I said, a standalone film. This isn't attached to any DC property. This has nothing to do with Robert Pattinson's Joker. It doesn't have anything to do with James Gunn's new DCU universe. This has nothing to do with anything. It's its own thing. And when this film, well, the original film came out in 2019, I was kind of hesitant with it because I'm like, how can you have a Joker movie without Batman? And some way they pulled it off, and pulled it off wonderfully, I believe. And when they announced the sequel, which, you kind of figured, especially after that film made, I think, close to $1 billion, if not over $1 billion. And Joaquin Phoenix won an Oscar for his portrayal as Joker in that film, the second actor to win an Academy Award for playing Joker. That goes to show you how deep of a character Joker is, how complex of a character that character is. And so it was a kind of a no-brainer we were going to get a sequel. But was anybody really clamoring for a Joker sequel? Once again, without Batman being in the mix? I wasn't. I said, okay, we struck while the iron was hot. We pulled it off with a miracle. And the movie was great. Let's not overstep our boundaries. And I was a little nervous about this film, even though the promotional materials looked great. I was excited for it. And so here we are, Joker Folie, Deux. I am going to attempt to do this without spoilers. I'm not going to spoil anything about this movie. I may say something associated with the story of the film that may come off as a spoiler. That, if you want to go in this movie completely blind and not know anything, it's probably best to go see the film, then come back and listen to the show. But I'm not going to talk about the outcome and plot points and stuff like that. I may mention a scene here or two, and that's it. But I'm not even going to go super in depth in these things. I'm going to keep it as non-spoilery as possible. I may, in a couple of days, no promises, but I may, do a spoiler episode, a full spoiler episode in the next coming days. We'll see how my schedule and stuff works out, and that way I can really dive into it, because there's a lot I want to talk about and I can't, but and I found myself struggling with that in my past reviews, dancing around it. But I think I'm gonna dance around a few of these spoilers, and it's not that difficult. It's not like Batman shows up, spoiler, there's no Batman in here. Okay, so that's not gonna happen. But there are some characters in the DC universe, or comics characters, I should say, that do pop up that I didn't know was a part of this film. And I was like, wait, that's so and so, you know. So it did kind of make me chuckle a bit. Yeah. So um, be on the lookout for those type of things. And another thing, when they announced this film, it was like, okay, we're introducing Harley Quinn into this universe, into this Joker universe that we have established. And once again, I was like, wait, we already have a Harley Quinn. You know, Margot Robbie's doing a phenomenal job, even though the movies haven't been 100%. Margot Robbie's portrayal as Harley Quinn has been uh, universally loved for the most part. As far as I know, I haven't met anybody who says, "Oh man, she's horrible as Harley Quinn." No, she really knocks Harley Quinn out the park. And so we're getting this new Harley Quinn, and who was going to play Harley Quinn in this film? You know, and you know they didn't announce anything for about a month or so, and next thing you know, Lady Gaga has been cast as Harley Quinn, and immediately my antennas went up. Immediately, I was like, "This is perfect for this particular film, for this character, for this version of Joker." I'm like, that works. And I hadn't seen nothing associated with this film. I didn't even know what this movie was about. It didn't matter. I knew that was going to work. And so, um, I think maybe a couple of weeks after that, they announced it was going to be in a musical as well. There's going to be some musical elements. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. And then once again, kind of scratched my head. A musical? I mean, really? Okay, we really going off the rails here. And I was nervous yet again. So we fast forward to a few months ago when the first trailer dropped, and I watched that trailer, and that trailer should be in a National Museum of History or something. It is like a masterpiece, beautifully shot. I'm like, man, if the trailer looks this good, I can't wait for the film. And so all the elements was there, which led to opening night, sitting in the theater, and it comes on. I watched this movie. Well, I'm getting a little ahead of myself again. Before this, before I sat down to watch the film, I try to stay away from reviews, even though I'm a reviewer and I hope people listen to my reviews. But I try to stay away from reviews because I don't want it to influence my viewing experience. You know, as a reviewer, because I don't want to kind of inherit other people's feelings as I give my opinion. That's why I stay away from them. And so I didn't really listen to them, but I couldn't help but, every now and then run across one or two, and then it turns to three and four because everybody was pretty much saying the same thing, that this movie was horrible. And I could not believe it. I was like, man, there's no way this movie is that bad. I'm talking hate. I'm talking pure hatred. A couple of them I had to click on to actually read and listen to. That's how much disdain these people were having towards this film. Oh, it's horrible. Oh my God, that ending. Oh my God, the story and all this here. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do when I? Because me and my daughter are super excited. My daughter, my oldest daughter, and she loved the first Joker. She watches it religiously. Loves Joaquin Phoenix performance in it and everything. I mean, she loves Joker. And so she was super excited, and I'm kind of like trying to tell her without telling her, like, look, we just need to have an open mind when we go see this. And you're like, oh no, Dad, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be this, that, and the third. I'm like, okay. And so I'm nervous for her, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, whatever happens, happens. It can't be that bad. So back to our regularly scheduled program, sitting in the theater, movie comes on, watches it, credits start to roll at the end, and all I can do is sit there and wonder, What were they watching? This was an excellent film. I enjoyed this movie from beginning to end. There is this movie as good as the original? No. I will say that. I'll concede to that. It is not as good as the 2019 film. The 2019 film is close to perfection. It is a very, very good film that explores mental health and the effects of the mental health issue that is running rampant not only in the United States but across around the world. Uh, how we are dealing with it as people, the healthcare system and everything else. It really dove into that, and it was beautifully, beautifully done in that film. Joaquin Phoenix performance deserved every Oscar, every award that he received for that film. He was phenomenal as Joker. Um, this go around, he is still phenomenal. Joaquin Phoenix is just amazing in this role. Uh, I'm sitting there like, man, if only they could have found the way to put him in an actual Batman film as Joker, to see him go toe to toe with a actual Batman in a film, that would be excellent. Because this Joker is not quote unquote the Joker that we know from the DC comics. The elements are there. It is based loosely on that character, but it isn't that character. This is a completely different character. This is Arthur Fleck. This isn't Joker. And so if you go into the movie with that mindset, you would appreciate it more. And that's how I had to go into it. And I thank all those critics who kind of prepared my mind in that fashion, because before I was kind of looking at it as Joker. But then listening to the reviews and how they like, oh man, this is nothing like the comics character and all this here. They never tried to be like the comics character, even in the first film. They never tried to be like the comics. This is its own thing. And I appreciate it for that. Joaquin was great. Joaquin was amazing as Joker. Now, once again, is his performance better this go around than it was in the 2019 film? I would say no, but it is close. It is very, very close. This character goes through so much in this film emotionally. The first film, he went on a journey, with the coming to the realization of what his mother did and what happened when he was younger and so on and so forth. And in this film, they actually found a way to dive in even more into his psyche. And it's even more disturbing than what we saw in the first film. And that just tore me up even more. Do they make him kind of a sympathetic? Well, ain't no kinda. Do they make him a sympathetic figure? Yes, they do. I think there's a lot of people who was kind of upset about that because the man killed 5, 6 people in the first movie. Brutally killed them. And so, yeah, it was a lot there to kind of brush under the rug, I guess, but not too much. But yet and still, he's a sick person, and I mean sick in a sense he's really mentally disturbed. He needs help, and he needed help, and nobody was there to help. Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, like I said before, I knew she was gonna knock it out the park, and she did 10 times better than what I expected. I really just thought, if she can keep up with Joaquin, which is asking a lot because Joaquin is one of the best actors working in Hollywood today. But if she can kind of just hold her own for a couple of scenes, it'll be all right. My God, I'll go as far as to say she stole almost every scene that she was in with Joaquin, she basically stole the movie. If you want to be honest, she was that good. She was that good. I don't know if I'll go as far to say she outperformed Joaquin Phoenix overall, but there is a lot of depth to her character. Her character is messed up, and Harley Quinn is messed up in the comics. You know, even though that character originated from the Batman animated series and then went to the comics, but that character is messed up in the comics and the movies and everything else. And they found a way to mess her up even more in this go around. And you get it. You understand. Uh, to a degree, at least I did, because I'm sick in the head too. You understand how that character fell in love with Arthur Fleck and how disturbed she is, and they're basically yin and yang. You know, they're soulmates, literally. They found each other, and it's actually a beautiful love story. Dare I say, really, really cool. Deep dive into the origins of their love story, because we haven't seen that in any other form of media. We haven't seen it in the comics or in animated shows or even in the movies. We hadn't seen that, you know. So we got to deep dive into it here. Is there changes to the character that we're used to seeing in comics and in the animated stuff and all this here? Yeah. Well, it's changes to all the characters. Like I said, this is a different film. This is not a DC Universe Justice League movie. Superman doesn't exist in this world, I don't think. There's no Green Lanterns, and there's definitely no Batman. So this is a different thing. The musical element of this film, is this spoilery? I don't know. I'm gonna risk it with y'all. And I hope y'all enjoy the risk without me saying anything spoilery, which it ain't spoilery. It's a musical, but it's not a this isn't The Greatest Showman. Okay, this isn't Wicked. It's not like that. It's not musical numbers where people break out in song and dance with mops in the background and stuff like this. It's none of that. That's not the type of musical this is. This is the most realistic musical film I've ever seen. The way they use musical elements throughout the film with our two lead characters was genius. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Once again, I'm scratching my head. What are these critics looking at? I honest to God don't know what they were looking at. This was so well done. And like perfect song choices and perfect placements throughout the film for these song choices. Really good. I mean, no problems whatsoever. Todd Phillips, another excellent job. He's come a long way from Road Trip and Old School and School for Scoundrels and what else? What other crazy movies he made? Due Date and all these other little goofball comedies that he made, and of course the Hangover films. He's come a long way, and didn't know he had this in him. Did you know he did his thing with Joker? He did his thing even more with Joker, Folie, Deux. This was a very, very disturbing film in so many ways. It wasn't perfect though. Like I said, it's not as good as the original, and there are a couple of reasons why. I can't get into one because it's spoilery, but I didn't quite buy the following of the Joker by the people. You know, there are people in Gotham who are is like a cult, man, and Joker is the cult leader, and their devotion to Joker is kind of weird. You know, it is nothing he really said. You know, there was no manifesto he sent out. There's no speech that he really gave But I understand that this movie kind of sets up that the people of Gotham are just, you know, uh, down. Financially, their morale and everything is just gone. Mental health is running rampant. Everything is just devastating in Gotham. So if somebody to rise up and do something that goes against the status quo, I guess that's an easy way to get followers, and that's fine. But it just didn't quite get there with me. Why people will follow this crazy individual like that? But yeah, and that stems from the first film on to this one. But in the first film, it was only like the last 5 minutes. In this film, it was basically in the entire film. How people are clamoring, or willing to do, go through extreme measures for this man who really don't care for. It's not like none of that impresses him. That these people are following him and willing to emulate what he's done and all this other stuff, and it's kind of weird. But the other thing that I didn't like, like I said, I'm not spoiling nothing, but it's the ending. I didn't really like the ending, and it's something I'll have to go over in the spoiler review. But because I like the ending, but I don't like the ending. If that makes any sense, it's a weird thing. It's it's complicated, if you will, because the ending was fine, but it just felt, man, I can't get this. Like I said, now I have to do it. See, I got myself in trouble. Now I have to discuss a spoiler review. I got to do it now. So just know that those are the two things. It was the following of the people, and then this ending that kind of caught me a little aloof. But aside from that, I enjoyed this movie. I mean, it's one of the best of the year, especially performance wise. The cinematography. Oh my God, this movie looked so beautiful. There's some shots. If you pause it and take a screenshot and just put it in a frame, it's like a work of art. It's some beautiful shots in this film, and it is absolutely gorgeous to look at. But overall, I think this is one of the best movies of the year so far. Overall, despite a gripe or two, Joker, Folie, Deux, currently in theaters, gets a letter grade of an A minus. Yeah, it's that good to me. I'm tripping. I'm tripping out on these critics. I don't know, man. I don't know what they were seeing. I gotta watch it again. Maybe when I see it again, which I do plan to go see it again. Maybe when I see it again, I'll have a different tune. But I don't have it now. It's nowhere to be found now. We'll see later on down the road. But I would like to know, what did you think of Joker, Folie, Deux? Did you enjoy it? Do you put it up there with the original? How did you feel about Lady Gaga's performance as Harley Quinn? I would love to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for this show and comment on this show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video if you don't mind. Also, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Joker, Folie, Deux. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.